Thank you and welcome back to the final segment of the show for today. We're talking to Mr. Howard Allen, and the topic is homelessness and gentrification in Nashville. So let's see if we can look at this last segment, Mr. Allen, and to have you to enlighten our audience in terms of some of the challenges over the next 10 minutes of being homeless. When you get up in the morning, do you have, what about taking care of your body and eating and what are some of the typical kinds of things that persons that don't have a home face once they get up out of whatever bed they're laying in at that particular moment?
Well, we have been blessed with Father Charles Strobel that does the Room in the Inn, where during the winter months from November the 1st to March 31st, the churches bring us in, and therefore that takes a big burden off a homeless individual for that night because he's able to take a shower, get up and have breakfast. But for me, I just have a system and I can't just tell you everything I do because some of it's top secret. But anyway, we have a company called, a nonprofit called Shower Up. And that's a great organization where they have 2 shower trucks. They bring them on Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays downtown where you can go in and take a nice hot shower and get a change of clothes. But it's kind of hard when you can't just go down to the campus or the mission. Some people don't want to go to the mission to take a shower, so you just have to deal with that situation. But I wanted to let you know that homelessness now starts with babies because, you know, you can take my house, you can take my money, you can take my wife, and then you can run into another young lady whose husband, house, and money's been taken. But one thing you can't stop people from doing, that's having sex. And they do that in the homeless community just like they do it in the housing community. So kids are being born in homelessness. Our homelessness population is starting very high now with youth. I mean, from 18, 19, 20, 22, 24. We have a large LBGT community in the homeless population. So I don't know what's that like for some of them because that's like a double whammy because they're gay and they're homeless too. But, you know, it's just a lot of different aspects dealing with homelessness, and nobody said in the 3rd grade, said it and said, I'm gonna grow up to become homeless. It's just decisions happen, things happen, loss of rent, sickness, whatever can happen. And you can become without. I mean, you know, you had people that dealt with Katrina, you had people that dealt with the fire in Gatlinburg, and even though they had insurance and eventually they were gonna be rebuilt, but for that moment they were homeless and they were dependent on a disaster relief, Red Cross or the church or whatever to help. And none of us in the homeless community are asking for a handout, we just want a hand up. And it's hard to get that because some people, homelessness scares a lot of people. Either you might pull me down where you are, and then sometimes they act like they don't see it, but you see it every day. And then you see the gentrification process happening every day.
All around the homeless.
Not just all around downtown, and you don't have your police, your nurses, your teachers, your doctors. They can't live in Davidson County because this cost of living is so high. So they're living in Wilson County, they're living in Rutherford County, they're living in Robinson County, they're living in Montgomery County because you can't afford to live here. And I can remember when Nashville was a good place to live, it was top secret, and I mean, a nice little place, and now, man, it's got the New York, California aspect, but with the money, and it's just wrong, you know? It's just wrong. And so I think eventually things will flatten out, and the millennials, the city has turned from what it used to be to a millennial city, a police city, and a tourist city. But the millennials are eventually going to play out, and then all this stuff that they're building eventually, I think in the next 5 to 7 years, will go from affordable housing to low-income housing. Because my father sees, he carries us, you know, he sees.
Yeah, you look at all of the construction that's built downtown, and what you're saying is that once people no longer can afford to live in these houses, what generally becomes of all of the housing?
Yeah, I think it becomes low income. But right now, this city is full of corporate greed. Corporate greed. They're putting the profit before the people, and the people are the most important weapon aspect in the city. because we are the ones that make the city run.
You think that, is there any effort, Mr. Allen, to sort of organize the homeless community? And if not, what would be some of the obstacles in terms of bringing people together and making them have a common purpose in terms of uplift?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I was kind of protected when I was growing up. I'm a 61 baby. So some of my close friends, like Howard Gentry, was like a brother to me. I was kind of protected when that civil rights stuff was going on. I remember when Kennedy, Malcolm, King, Medgar, all of them, and Robert Kennedy got killed, you know. So I was kind of protected doing that. But let me tell you, I see some of the same similarities in the homeless community as far as dealing with blacks, the black community. Two things I know. When you have a census, you never get the accurate count on an African-American family, and you never will on a homeless family either.
Why is that?
Because when we don't want to be seen, we won't be seen. And the homeless community, we walk down the alleys, we sleep under the railroad track, and we'll know when the count is coming at 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're not going to be at our camp. And African Americans are the same way. But yeah, and we're not together just like the African Americans.
Well, what is the purpose of trying to make an assessment in terms of the people in Nashville who are homeless? I mean, what's the purpose of that?
I'm gonna tell you, the homeless community is a community that you can make money off of. Homelessness is a $1 billion industry, so it's a commodity. They talk. Now, some people actually do really want to help, but that's a $1 billion industry. So why fix that? If you were a case manager and you had 800 people that you had to put in housing, and you put 800 people in housing, what's that gonna leave you after you put them in without a job? So why fix that? And it's a revolving door. People become homeless every day. People that you wouldn't think to be homeless are homeless. And I see a lot of people tell me, Howard, you don't look homeless. What does homeless look like? So I asked the question, you know? And who would you say is the most famous homeless person that you know in your life? Dr. Haney, who would you say?
I'm not sure I would know.
It'd be Jesus.
Jesus? Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's how I get a lot of people. Yeah, yeah, Jesus.
Without anything.
That's right.
In a real
Anything.
sense,
That's right.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Well, how many homeless people relate to Jesus, though?
Oh, we got to get it we get that every day, especially if you're in the mission.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they come. That's how they come, the religious aspect. But let me tell you, we know them better than a lot of people because anytime, like me, for instance, I've slept in 15-degree weather, and I drink a lot of water where I was in a box. And when I woke up the next morning, I was able to break my box down. And then when I went to get my water was froze. And my body's 85% water. So that's God. It's nobody but God, and I know it. Here I am, asleep and able to get up, and then I break my campsite down, then I go back to get my water, and my water's froze.
And so now there are a large number of